15 years ago, I was traveling the world as a professional paintball player, obsessed with competition, culture, and building something bigger than myself. Today, that same mindset has turned into building multi-million-dollar brands in Newport Beach with some of the biggest global icons and champions of sport through Santo Studio and Jaxxon. So we just finished the Jaxxon podcast. Obviously, there's a lot going on here. We're here at the Jaxxon Media House in the middle of, Bobby Green, where are you going? Bobby, get in here real quick. 10 seconds. There's always something going on here. Listen, one thing I wanted to ask, two former UFC world champions, top contender in the world. So I want to ask all of you guys in your own personal opinion, what is the best way to set up a knockout in an MMA fight? What is the best way to look at it, set it up, and execute? I'll start with you, TJ.
Hit them with something they don't see coming, right? If I can brace for the shot, for the most part, it's going to be a lot harder to knock me out. But if you get hit by something you don't see, that's when you get a knockout, right? Like, that's why they'll look lows, kick highs coming, because they don't see the kick coming. They're a lot more relaxed. That's when you get a knockout. Setting up combos and setting up these traps to where you hit someone, their chin is loose rather than them tighten and seeing the punch coming is when you're going to get the knockout. And when you hit it, it's kind of like hitting a baseball or golf ball perfectly. You just don't feel anything. It's just like hitting air. You hit like the perfect punch or the perfect kick, it just limp.
Be first and commit with everything you have. If you can start a fight the moment you start, the best opportunity is just be as first, be as fast, and be as committed as possible.
And what would you kind of set yourself up with? Is it mainly your kicks is where you like to knock them out with?
I mean, you can come forward other ways. I mean, there's different ways I made a history of check hooking guys, dropping guys all day long with a hard check hook. I would just bait them in. I love to destroy the body. I love to come at people first. I mean, it's like a lot of guys get those knockouts off just being first.
Brendan, what do you think? The best way to knock someone out in a UFC fight?
Nowadays, combinations. People are used to just getting, one or two punches, so they kind of start relaxing on that third. So you see 3-4 punches, they just start adding up and boom. Because like I said, people are used to just on 1, 2, 3s or just 1, 2. So when you start adding a 4 or 5, they're not used to that. They're already relaxed. Like TJ said, bang, see ya.
A lot of people look at you as a mind who understands the body outside of the cage, right? And we see a lot of controversy with guys like Khamzat Chimaev and Arman Tsarukyan, Khalil Roundtree, Bo Nickel, Aaron Pico training at the garage. And we've heard about this over and over again. Sam Calavita, the training program, wrestling versus non-competitive, MMA fight training. But it seems like everybody has their own recipe. It seems like everybody's an expert in training. Is there one specific training technique outside of the cage for your body that is the best fit all for MMA fighting, or is everybody different?
Everyone's a little bit different to how you're genetically made up. Some guys got to do more zone 2 training because they're really muscle bound. Those guys that are like muscle bound as hell, they need a little more zone 2 training. Everyone's genetically made up a little bit different. But if I had to select like one exercise that we do, it would be like tons of medicine ball work and more like a hit fitness, doing things till failure over time. That's what's going to push the lactic threshold. I'm going to redline my body to a certain extreme, try to hold it, to grow it. That's what I would say would be like, if I could choose one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up anything from like a 40 to 150 pound medicine balls and do different exercises with them, good rotational stuff, squats, throwing, overhead throws, suplexes, like all fight emulated motions, and you're getting yourself hella tired.
Luke, anything for you specifically over the years you felt was the catch-all be-all for training outside of the cage?
I mean, for us, it was the bike night. We would all do a bike night. We'd all, me, Habib, Kane, Cormier, Islam, Umar.
Like the assault bikes?
We had this little room. And we'd have a group of assault bikes. We'd have 1 minute on the assault bike at 85 RPMs as hard as we could. So there's ebbs and flows of fighting, like I always say. So you're on that bike and you're grinding as hard as you can. And then the moment you get off, you go straight into a drill where I'm wrestling head to head with Khabib, or like I get back on and like I got to get off the wall with Cormier, or then I'm getting out of the bag and I'm unloading as hard as I can on the bag. Every little element emulated the fight, but it would be one on the bike, one on an element, one on the bike, one on an element, and we would push this thing for 30 or 40 minutes. And this was like your RPMs had to get higher, and everyone else was building in the fight, and there was just one little room that you go into at night, and we'd all just we'd fear it. It was the most fearful thing.
Then you're having to have good technique while being tired, right?
Good technique while being tired, and everything was staged in the output, and there's nothing like it. It built us all the champions, and we were all fucking scared because we knew that I had to fucking get higher than you, and I want to get higher than you. We didn't want to give an inch to any of us.
What about like traditional cardio, like boxing, like doing 5-10 mile runs every morning. And
I mean, it's like a pyramid, right? Your bottom base is going to be your zone 2. You have to do the road work. That's going to be your zone 2 training, depending on where your heart rate and your crossover points are. That's where you're going to build your base, which is going to prolong when you reach each level. If I can get my base, my zone 2 high, to where like I don't cross over to zone 3 until like 155 beats a minute, I have that much more time rather than 135, right? So I got that much more time before I start burning carbs for energy. I'm burning fats all in zone 2. Once you start burning carbs, you start producing lactic acid, your muscles get heavy, but you have to train that as well too while you do the sprints, because now you're teaching your body how to buffer lactic acid better. So you can't just do one. I'm not going to only do road work. I'm going to have to be doing my sprints, my HIIT fitness, my lactic threshold training, hitting the assault bikes and doing technique. So it's all very important. It's just like you have to put it in the schedule. And if you don't follow the schedule correctly, you can mess it all up.
Get to where you're most uncomfortable, and then push a little harder every day. And then just expand that volume, that capacity. And that's what it comes down to. Every spot you're most uncomfortable, push further in that each direction. A little harder each day, and get better and better until that fight comes and you're perfect.
listen, there's a lot of action going on here at the Jaxxon Media House. Right now, Jaxxon Media House is right here in Newport Beach. Right next door to it is Santo Performance Studio. That's the training area and the gym. It's a 15,000 square foot facility where all the fighters go and train. We have camps, we have a jiu-jitsu school there, and then we have trainers there, and then people that are actually just lifting weights. And then right behind this Jaxxon building on the next street is Santo Studio. It's where we have our headquarters. It's where our whole entire design team is at. It's where all the products we've been making for Nordstrom. So it kind of gives you the full little community we got going on here in Newport Beach. It's very exciting, very cool. We just came out of the podcast room. Matter of fact, I'll show you guys the podcast room real quick. This is where we film the Jaxxon podcast. I think one thing that's so cool is when I built the podcast studio, this is Hamzat's built. It still smells like Bobby Green in here, by the way. When we built this room, I wanted to be able to create a cutout window so I could watch the guys spar as we do the fight recaps, as we do the podcast. And it's kind of crazy. I know it's confusing for all of you that watch, but we have a Jaxxon Behind the Brand show, which is just a week's worth of content of everything going on here. Then we have the Jaxxon podcast with me, TJ, Bisbing, Luke, Khalil, special guests always. And then we have the Jaxxon Sports podcast, which is everything surf, skate, and moto. And that's with Twitch, Tyler Bierman, and Sheckler. And the idea was to have two really cool, very authentic podcasts going on at the same time underneath this Jaxxon Media House. So we have the Behind the Brand show, we have the two different podcast shows, hopefully soon a new golf show. And people always ask me, why do you have so many shows? Why do you like doing this? Dude, I think one of the coolest things in the world is sitting down with athletes and being able to discuss with them things that are going on in the world, things that are going on in their lives, understanding the training, what it takes to become a champion, the mindset. And at the same time, when we're developing product, we're constantly looking to innovate, right? I think one thing that makes Jaxxon so special, one thing that makes Santo Studio one of the fastest growing menswear brands in Nordstrom, is I think people look at product a lot differently than they used to. I think in the old days, you could screen print a logo, sell a t-shirt for $50 and make money. I think now, we spend so much time worrying about the finishes, worrying about the chain, the weight, the link space. We designed all of our own watches in-house, Japanese movement, scratch-proof sapphire crystals, the length, the spacing, the silhouettes, the feel. We really wanted to emulate a very luxurious looking watch, right? We wanted to give you a $5,000 feel for under $500. And that's why we came out with these bundles. That's why we have some of the best-selling chains for men. Then we came out with, our new rubber strap. And dude, to me, I constantly was wearing Daytonas. I was always wearing a Patek. I always felt like having a really nice watch kind of completed my fit. Now it's like I don't ever leave the house without a Jaxxon watch. It's the perfect silhouette, it goes with everything. And that's something that we're constantly being able to talk to while we're worrying about UFC World Championships and who's gonna win X Games and what's going on in the world. We can also talk about the product, what they like, what they don't like. We can go show them before it launches. And I think when people are looking at a brand and they're trying to figure out what it is they need to get to the next level, they're constantly worried about so many things. For me, I always feel like it's innovation, it's the storytelling, it's the brand, it's the community, it's the experience. And you worry about these four things and you try to understand them all differently. And the community aspect we have here, I think is so special, right? Because we get to really sit down with these guys, then we really get to learn about them, then we get to go eat with them, train with them, then we get to help them with their camps, their training routines. And when you're training with someone and you're sweating with someone, you get to learn a lot about them. And we built the state-of-the-art gym, right outside. So when people are done doing the podcast or they're done training, they can go do that. So that's how we've been able to house so many UFC world title camps. That's how Hamza got the first belt against DDP. It's how we're able to help Ryan Sheckler constantly stay in shape. He's always in here training, Twitch, all the guys, the Lawrence brothers just got back from a race. Hunter won. Hunter's in here working out right now. So it's like you're talking about the world's best surfers, skaters, moto, MMA, all here. Cole Hoshman went to South Africa, just won. He's in here on the Aerodyne bike. And then you got Hunter and Jet Lawrence, two of the best world champions in motocross right now. They're here. Then you got two UFC world champions that are training and doing the podcast. Then you got our head coach of jiu-jitsu. Then you got Brendan Allen getting ready for his next camp. You got Armin Sarukian doing jiu-jitsu in the next room. I mean, talk about the crossover of culture and media. We're really doing it at the highest level. In my opinion, we have so much more to go, so much more room to grow. But I think we're understanding what makes us special, and we're trying to really lean into that, which is once you have something that works for your brand, you really just want to lean into it and make sure people could feel it, people could see it, and you want to invest time and money into it so it grows organically, authentically, and at a good pace, right? You want to always grow at a good rate where everybody's on the same page. And I really feel like that's what's happening here. So